Welcome to the Charter Township of Comstock Board Meeting, Monday, June 1st, 2026. This meeting is now called to order. May we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving along to the approval of the agenda.
Supervisor Martin, I would like to see if we could add discussion of the temporary sales and service permits that the Planning Commission has been working on for discussion under either the Planning Commission or under the Treasurer, please, and for possible action.
Under Treasurer?
Treasurer's fine.
Any other changes? I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion made by Clerk Beauchamp, seconded by Trustee MacGyver. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Moving along to public comments on agenda items only. A citizen may state their name and address and may speak only one time for no more than 3 minutes. This time may not be given to another citizen to extend their time. The person speaking has the floor, and no other citizen shall speak during someone else's time. During this time, you will be making statements to the board without discussion from board members, but you're welcome to make an appointment with the supervisor or superintendent to discuss your comments further. Their contact information is located by the door. Please keep comments clean and respectful.
Hi, Tammy Keeler, Salary Street. I just handed you guys I don't know what ordinance you're talking about tonight because it just says ordinance. But I just handed you the ordinances for storage containers.
That is not on tonight's agenda.
Well, what is the ordinance talking about then?
It's not a back and forth at public comment, but
Oh, yeah,
you
I
could
know.
talk about that at second public comment.
Okay, because it says ordinance on there, the one that I read.
Yep, we have 2 different ordinances, but that is
Okay.
not it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments on agenda items?
John Charlie, 9850 Miller Drive, Gillsburg, Michigan, 49053. I see we got budget adjustments and everything, and it's really, I hope we get some clarification on what these budget adjustments are for here. Because I mean, like, we got line item adjustments, insurance, $40,000. That's a lot of money. And then another one that's like appropriate use of fund balance from the DDA, 58,000 about, and I hope we get some clarification on that because we just got a whole new board members of DDA with a lot of people that have a lot of great ideas, and you know, I don't know if you're adding 57,000 or taking away 57,000, but I know like 57,000 would just destroy the DDA, in my opinion. That's not good. And then like contracted services, 60,000 for police, which I think that's pretty good idea. We have more police and everything like that. And then like legal services is only $3,000. I'm pretty sure we spent a lot more than $3,000 on legal services the last year and a half. I'm just really wondering and hope we get clarification on what these contracted services and why we were making all these budget adjustments. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Emily Murphy, and I am a Comstock Township resident and taxpayer. I want to address some concerns I have regarding the budget adjustments that are happening tonight to the Downtown Development Authority, also known as the DDA. Last Wednesday, on May 27th, the DDA had their regular monthly meeting. They worked together on several different issues. Honestly, it was nice to see board members collaborate instead of undermining each other. Tonight's agenda shows that Brett Pageant will be going over budget adjustments that have been made. $57,854 will be removed from the DDA budget, it appears. That is the whole DDA budget. I'm hoping we will all learn why that money is being moved from that budget. At the last DDA meeting, they discussed pursuing the possibility of using the budget to put in one emergency siren in the downtown of Comstock. The DDA is not beholden to the Township Board in that the DDA does not have to get permission to spend their budget. The DDA discussed the one emergency siren being in line with the values and intentions of why the DDA was created. An emergency siren downtown would encourage people to want to move themselves, their families, or their businesses to downtown Comstock because it would be safer, especially if they plan on being outside regularly. The DDA put a lot of thought and synergy into what would be the best for downtown Comstock. 5 days after that meeting, the township is adjusting the DDA budget by bringing their balance to zero. This is pretty sus timing, given there are the four board members who are able to control the narrative, and one narrative they control is to push that Comstock does not need any emergency sirens, and they will do all they can to make sure the residents do not get what we continue to beg for, safety for our community. So, in short, last Wednesday at the DDA meeting, they talked about the possibility of bringing one emergency siren into downtown Comstock. 5 days later, it appears the township is apprehending the DDA's budget to make sure the residents don't get any more safety measures that are meant to help keep us safe and alive. You can refute it, but I hope deep down you are not blind to how this looks and feels to those who have been asking for sirens. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Autumn Smith. Why is the superintendent's contract being placed on tonight's agenda when a writ of quo warranto has already been submitted challenging issues related to that very position? A quo warranto action is not a trivial matter. It is one of the most serious legal mechanisms available to question whether an individual is lawfully holding public office. The issues raised reportedly involve qualifications for office, residency requirements, oath of office compliance, and the validity of the employment agreement itself. Given those circumstances, most residents are left wondering why this board would move forward with a contract-related business before those questions have been fully resolved. At minimum, doing so creates the appearance that the board is attempting to proceed as though the legal concerns do not exist. At worst, it exposes taxpayers to potential liability and uncertainty should future determination find the office was improperly occupied. This is not about personalities, it's not about politics, it's about public trust. Government works best when it demonstrates caution, transparency, and accountability. When serious legal questions are pending, the prudent course is often to avoid actions that could further complicate matters or create additional financial obligations for the public. The residents of Comstock probably would like to, well, I think they deserve to know whether the board has received legal guidance regarding the agenda item, whether the pending quo warranto filing was considered before placing it on the agenda, and why the board believes it's appropriate to move forward with at this time. If the position itself is under legal challenge, then any action involving the contract deserves heightened scrutiny, not expedited consideration. I encourage the board to explain its reasoning publicly and ensure that the taxpayers are not placed at unnecessary risk while these important questions remain unanswered. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jason Tolhurst, and I am a resident of Comstock. I ask that this board reconsider their decision to make the first public comment agenda items only. This decision excludes less privileged individuals from participating in our democratic process, such as those with disabilities, parents who might not be able to find childcare, and the elderly. The agenda often contains vague line items with no supplemental content in the agenda, as we saw tonight, which can lead to unnecessary debates as to what is on agenda. Your decision to limit a single public comment time and place that limit on the first public comment shows that you serve only your personal interests here on this board and not the interests of the township that elected you to serve. Return to this township their right to public comment. Pass a motion to restore the first public comment as open public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any further comments this evening? If not, we'll be moving along to announcements for departments, boards, and commissions. Commissioner, what do you have for us?
As usual, Ben, I have a few items, excuse me, concerning the child care millage, which will be on the ballot in August. I support child care big time, but I don't support putting another millage on the ballot. So you may see me portrayed as an anti-child care guy, and I'm not. I'm just saying that out of our $325 million budget, we can find some child care money in there, and we don't need to have another millage. Kalamazoo's county residents are very generous, and I think we're reaching the point maybe when we'll start saying, hang on, enough is enough. Even things that are worthwhile may need to be looked at in a different light rather than just let's put more taxes on the troops. I don't know if anybody has picked up on this yet. It's a big brouhaha that's now died completely off, and that's the Ebola situation. Apparently a member of Kalamazoo County resident was in an Ebola endangered country and came back, and Health and Community Services Communicable Disease Group tried to get in touch with this person, was completely unsuccessful, and after 3 or 4 days of intense scrutiny and trying to figure out what they could do about it, they learned that both the CDC and the state health department had thrown up their hands and said, you know, we're dropping the case. Well, so our own Health and Community Services group said, well, we're going to do it too. So there's somebody running around that may or may not have been exposed to Ebola. They may have spent some time coming through customs, and it may be, you know, that it's nothing to worry about, but we don't know that yet. So stay tuned. There may be other things that'll crop up, but right now it's off the agenda. There was an algae bloom in Austin Lake. I don't know if anybody here has relatives or friends on Austin Lake, but apparently the health department says it's really ugly stuff. And if you should happen to get into any additional greenish water yourself or your pets, take a good shower and, you know, wash it off. My guess is a lot of people in any of the lakes do that routinely anyway. Excuse me. There'll be a meeting of my group, my Kalamazoo Citizens for Responsible Government, next Monday, and the speaker's going to be Captain Jeff Baker from the Sheriff's Office, and he's going to talk about scams and frauds that we should all know about. So anybody that's interested, it's at Mark's Diner on Romance in Portage at 8:30 in the morning, and you're more than welcome. And lastly, we're now on the first of your 2 meetings this month, and that means Waukesha's meeting at 7 o'clock tonight, so I'll probably bail on you early, and it's nothing that you said, Jerry, although frequently it is. So if I run out the door, don't think I'm getting ugly with you or anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions from board members? If not, we'll be moving along. For the approval of the consent agenda, I would like to pull the budget adjustments and see if we could just have a discussion under Supervisor.
Okay, I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion made by Clerk Beauchamp, supported by Trustee Amos. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. There are no presentations. Moving along through business into fire and rescue. Chief Beauchamp.
All right, good evening. I couldn't make a couple meetings, so I do have several updates to go over before we get to the business on the agenda. The planning process, the architectural plans for the new Station 9-3 are coming along really well. We've had good community engagement, so we should have some information to go before the board here shortly. 2 meetings ago, our 2025 year-end report was on the agenda, but I couldn't make it because we were pretty busy that evening. I think you had a little power outage here as well. So I just want to put it back out there that if there's any questions, comments, concern, I'm always available to answer that. Our department has been, the calls have increased, the requirements for training, everything else has been going up. And I think that our staff did a great job putting together a year-end report and showing what the department members are doing. The congressionally directed spending, the CDS grant request that we put in is moving to the next round. This was for the mobile barrier traffic system for nearly $400,000 and is through Senator Peters' office. So it's not confirmed yet, but going to the next round is looking pretty good. So fingers crossed on that. We're also going on to the next round for an Office of Highway Safety reimbursement traffic grant for staffing to help with staffing our traffic unit. And if awarded on that, it looks like it would be just over $20,000 for the next fiscal year. So fingers crossed on that as well. The FEMA BRIC grant that we put in for the fire station could be eligible for a small portion of the station, which is identified as a storm shelter. The issue that we're having is that we didn't know to identify each component with the architect and the estimator to identify that area, so we may not have the information for that specific portion of the station available to send in to go to the next round of the grant. I'm trying and moving things around. Everybody's busy. The estimator, I'm not sure they can get in, but if they can, there's a chance that we could get a small portion that's identified as a shelter of the station could go on to be grant funded. So fingers crossed on that as well. A lot of fingers crossing tonight. 911 dispatch put out a radio readiness grant for fire departments and police agencies to upgrade their portable and mobile radios. And it looks like we're in the running for give or take $300,000 to reimburse for the radios that we carry. And just for example, this little guy on my side here is just over $7,000. This isn't the fancy version. This is the lower tier, so it's expensive. Anything fire rescue costs a lot. Last thing I got for just announcements is that our new aerial has been in. We've advertised that. It's going to be at our River Street station here soon. We're planning a traditional push-in ceremony next week, Tuesday, June 9th at 5:30 p.m., Station 9-1 on River Street. And it's kind of, we'll put something out on our social media, but it's a fun thing to see. It goes back to a fire service tradition from the horse and steamer days, what they used to do. So this is obviously very different from a horse and steamer, but it would be an interesting event, especially for the kids. Now for the business of tonight, we are requesting to enter in some more grants. The first one is for the Assistance to Firefighters Grant, and it's the government's fiscal year 2025, so hold on the confusion of that. So we're in the right time frame. There's not a typo on it. We are requesting to host and submit a regional Department of Homeland Security grant fiscal year 2025 for self-contained breathing apparatus, rapid intervention team packs, so that's when a firefighter were to go down, we could provide them safety air, an air compressor fill station cascade system. The regional component is that we'd have at least one other department working with us on this. And the intent is that we would host it, we would write the grant, submit it, we would manage it, but anything that our neighbors that went on with us got, they would be required to provide their match. We don't have to provide their match for them. We're just the administrators of it. If we were to submit this grant on our own versus a regional grant, we are a second tier priority. So just going regional brings us up. So this is a very strategic move to do. The cap on this grant is $1 million. To replace what we have today is $650,000 to $750,000 worth of equipment for our department alone. So what we're planning on doing throughout the county, and we're leading the way on this countywide, is that 3 or 4 departments would host to be regional, and then we'll partner up maybe with a smaller department or two. Other departments on the west side of town, south side of town would do the same. So we're all kind of going in this together so we ensure the entire county is covered. We just can't provide that host opportunity because we're capped. So more than likely, we got a couple departments in mind. We have a meeting to finalize if we're approved tonight this Thursday with area chiefs, but this would be a great opportunity. This is on our capital improvement plan for a few years out. So this would definitely help, the budget if awarded. So the request would be up to $1 million, and if awarded, would require a local match of up to 10%. Again, each department participating is responsible for their own equipment if awarded. So we are requesting to submit a regional Department of Homeland Security grant for SCBA's and related equipment.
Thank you, Chief Beauchamp. Any board member questions? Trustee McIver, microphone.
Thank you. I gotta do something about that. Chief Beauchamp, so do I understand correctly, do you partner up with like 2 or 3 other, maybe smaller fire stations, and if the grant came through?
Yeah.
Everybody would share in the 10%?
They would. So for instance, if we partner with somebody, and I know that this is an opportunity because they're on a different cycle, but let's just say Richland Township. We partnered with them, and if we had $600,000 of it and they had $400,000, they would be required to match their $400,000 portion of it. So it depends on how it's written. So we will be going for an SCBA air compressor fill station because we have one now. It's from 2006. It's due to be replaced. But the department or 2 that we go in with may not be required to get that. So each department would be line by line going, okay, this is your match, and everybody would be responsible for their 10% upon award.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Any further board questions? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the request to submit a Regional Department of Homeland Security fiscal year 2025 Assistance to Firefighter Grant request.
Support.
Motion made by Trustee Cherry, supported by Trustee Pratt. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you. And the next item is requesting to submit a local Department of Homeland Security grant for fire prevention and safety. It's the same fiscal year, 2025, and this would be a fire extinguisher trainer system. The request would be up to $30,000, and if awarded, we'd have to provide a local match up to 5%. So this is a very competitive grant as well. In the past, we have gone through this avenue to get things like our smoke alarm program that we offer to our residents for free, carbon monoxide alarms. We're not pursuing that again because the state of Michigan has acquired a grant with their match, so there's no need to duplicate the effort. So this was kind of next up on something we wanted to do because it is something that we do often, especially for our businesses, schools, that sort of thing. Currently, we have to use live fire, and this will allow us to use some technology to work in. So the request would be to host Department of Homeland Security fiscal year 2025 fire prevention and safety grant.
Any questions for Chief Beauchamp? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the fire department's request to host and submit a Regional Department of Homeland Security fiscal year 2025 fire prevention and safety grant request.
Second.
Motion made by Clerk Beauchamp, seconded by Trustee McIver. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Moving along to planning and zoning, we have our first reading of ordinance number 568, landscaping. We will hand it over to you, Casey.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Martin. So I do not have the ordinance snippets for you all as there are minor changes. Hopefully, if you have any questions, I can answer them for you. But yes, so we have, first up is the...
Excuse me, Casey, is your speaker on, your microphone?
Oh, sorry, it's a little tall from Chief Beauchamp. Let me see, let me get organized, 1 second. Okay, so yes, first reading for ordinance number 568, landscaping. The Planning Commission had a work list of items they wanted to tackle this year, and this public hearing was held back April 9th. It's finally making its way to you guys. There are just a few changes to our landscaping ordinance. In the past, we've heard from developers that our landscaping is just way too ambitious, and it's cumbersome to them due to financing and fitting it onto these lots. So there's a few changes to make it easier, hopefully, for developers to come on through. The first change basically just says, as far as public safety goes, that no landscape should be placed that would interfere with the safe movement of vehicles, pedestrians, visibility, underground overhead utilities. We didn't have this, the chunk of this in our ordinance, so it just reinforces public safety concerns. There's a minor change to section 2 for the minimum size of landscaping islands. Previously it was 15 feet. To become more welcoming developers, we've cut it down to 10 feet for the width. And then the last change allows for flexibility for the Planning Commission. Previously, we've had people come to the Zoning Board of Appeals for landscaping variances. However, this under section 5.4 on page 18 of your agenda allows the Planning Commission to grant lesser plantings or screenings as they deem necessary to protect public safety, welfare, and this ordinance. So there's 3 small changes, but we do hope that developers coming through the township can feel the changes and it's easier for them to work with us. Any changes or any questions on those ones?
Anybody have any questions? If not, we'd be looking for a motion, and then we can have discussion after we have a motion in a second.
I move that we approve first reading of ordinance number 568, landscaping.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Beauchamp, supported by Treasurer Bloomfield. Treasurer Bloomfield, do you have anything to say about this ordinance?
Sure. We worked on this quite a long time. This one was a little bit of a struggle for us. One of our objectives for this was to minimize the amount of canopy trees that we had, because once they reached maturity, we're having them take out power lines when we have storms. That was one of our goals, which I think we achieved with this. And the other was, once a lot of the landscaping that was in the previous ordinance reaches full maturity, we're finding we have had the landowners invest too much in landscaping, where we felt like we could minimize some of that for them. So we thought we achieved that with this new ordinance.
Thank you, Treasurer Bloomfield. Trustee McIver?
They can save some money for the people who want to do the landscaping around new businesses. I think it's great. And the maturity of trees is, I look around to what we have growing, they've been growing in this area for years and years and years. They get big, so maybe recommending like they have, planting trees that don't grow into the power lines and don't reach out and obstruct traffic trying to get out on busy highways is a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Beauchamp?
Makes sense to me. Appreciate the Planning Commission doing the work on this.
Thanks, Clerk Beauchamp. Trustee Pratt?
And just that I support these changes. I think they're very good and will help the residents out.
Trustee Amos?
I think it's very good. I think it's a very good idea. Thank you.
Trustee Cherry?
Just echo the sentiments of everyone else. It's a really good idea, and I thank the Planning Commission for doing due diligence.
Thank you. I agree. I've heard from some business owners that they felt like in the past years that we were putting the screws to them pretty good on the landscaping. So if we can help them budget a little money to get their businesses going, landscape to your heart's content under the ordinance, but you don't have to in order to open. So I like to see that, and so I'd be in support of this as well. So we have a motion, we have a second, and looking for a roll call vote.
Trustee Pratt?
Yes.
Trustee Amos? Supervisor Martin?
Yes.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Yes.
Clerk Beauchamp, yes. Trustee Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee McIver?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
We'll be moving along to the first reading of ordinance number 569. That's the mobile vendor ordinance.
Yes, so this came back to you guys, or this first came to you guys, I believe it was last August or last July or last summer at some point. We had, after implementing this ordinance, we had a resident approach us and basically were saying it's not clear enough of an ordinance. So we were sent back to the drawing board through the Planning Commission, and we had a public hearing for this on May 14th. And there's only a few minor changes. Under section 1, previously, we only allowed for weekly permits, seven calendar days. So somebody wanted to be there for half the year, they needed to pull half a year worth of permits every week. So it's gonna be cumbersome. It was $25 a fee. And so we now offer 2 kind of permits. Sorry, under number 4, it should say seasonal permits. So seasonal permits may be valid for up to 180 calendar days, and then 5 annual permits required administrative site plan review. So we still offer that weekly option, but if people do want to go a little further and do 180 calendar days or for the full summer, they can do seasonal. And then if they do want to be there for up to a year, we require them to come through the planning office to have a complete admin site plan review to make sure the feasibility of walking and parking and where everything will be stored at. So it's a bit more intensive. I do have a question for you all. So for seasonal, we do not have a price set. The weekly is $25. Annual permits require a site plan review, which is about $1,400. We do not have a seasonal price. So hopefully at the next meeting for second reading, you all can discuss what price you want for that. And then under section 3, we've added a new sentence or amended our sentence for storage of equipment, stating that it must be stored and secured at the conclusion of daily operations. Previously, I believe it said removed at the conclusion of daily operations. So to accommodate for those seasonal or annual permits, just stored and secured, make sure it won't get stolen or broken into, won't be a nuisance. And those are the only 2 changes we've had on this ordinance.
Thank you, Casey. Any board member questions for Casey?
Casey, so the only change on this one is under 4, where you want to change annual to seasonal, correct?
Yep, correct.
Whoever makes the motion,
4 should
okay.
say seasonal permits for
Thank
180
you.
calendar days.
Okay, and before we make a motion, I make a motion to abstain from the mobile vendor ordinance, being that I have a food truck.
Support.
Motion made by Supervisor Martin, supported by Treasurer Bloomfield. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I'll be handing it over to whoever wants to make a motion.
I move that we accept the ordinance 569 for our mobile food vendor.
Motion made by Treasurer Bloomfield, supported by Trustee Amos. Roll call vote?
Excuse me, so are you making the motion
Oh, I'm
with the
sorry,
revision?
yes. I asked about the change, and then I didn't put it in my motion. Thank you for catching that, Attorney Paul. Would you like me to retract that and do it again, or just amend it?
Just amend it.
I'd like to amend my motion for the ordinance for 569 to include the change of the word annual to seasonal for under number 4. Thank you.
Support.
Motion made by Treasurer Bloomfield, supported by Trustee Amos. Roll call vote?
Trustee Cherry?
Yes.
Trustee Pratt?
Yes.
Trustee Amos?
Yes.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Yes.
Clerk Bochamp, yes. Trustee McIver?
Yes.
Supervisor Martin cannot vote, so motion carried.
Thank you, Casey.
Perfect, thank you. One last thing, these will be back for you all June 15th meeting. I want to say thank you all for the opportunity to work here for the past 2 years. However, my last day will be next Thursday, June 11th, following the PC meeting. It's been a great opportunity. It's been a whirlwind for everybody involved, but a lot of lessons have been learned, so thank you all. It's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll be moving along to Clerk Bochamp under Superintendent Contract.
So over the past several months, it has become increasingly apparent that the relationship between the superintendent and positions or portions of the board have deteriorated to a point where effective leadership in government has been significantly impacted. Regardless of how we arrived here, I think it's time that we evaluate what's in the best interest of the township. While I appreciate the superintendent's service and dedication, I think a transition of leadership is necessary to restore stability and reduce risk. I am suggesting that we terminate the superintendent's contract without cause.
Do we need a motion?
Well, I guess I have some questions for Attorney Thal. Were you?
So is that a motion then? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I can make a motion if,
You should, if you're going to consider it, you should make a motion, and then it should be seconded, and then the board can discuss it.
I did prepare a resolution. All board members have it in front of them. So I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2026-9, resolution for termination of superintendent contract without cause.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Bochamp, supported by Trustee Cherry. Moving along to board discussion. Attorney Thal, did you review this prior to this meeting?
No, I haven't seen that resolution.
You have not seen this?
No.
Nor have I. And so I see a contract with money. And this is on my desk to make a decision with a motion and support right now without a chance to go into closed session.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be able to just go into closed session on that.
No, I'm saying like if it were pre-planned to do so. So I guess I think we need to take a pause on this meeting and sit here and read through these documents, would be my recommendation.
My recommendation would be to table it since it was just thrown on top of us. And we have not had time to discuss it with the attorney. And also, since it is before the Attorney General and before the prosecuting attorney, I don't feel like we should even be discussing any of this at this point.
I just would like to say in this discussion that the documents here, 3 in total, the only document that's unfamiliar to board members is the one that has been presented tonight in the resolution that the clerk Beauchamp presented. So we all should be familiar with the other one. The third document is quite short and to the point. And so I think we could continue with our discussion, but I don't believe that we need to table anything.
Trustee Pratt, I haven't even read this.
You haven't read what?
There's triple digits of numbers in this document.
Which document are you referring to?
The one he hasn't read.
The compensation
Supervisor Martin, you signed it.
to pay this amount?
That's the contract that you signed.
Right, but we're talking about terminating a contract and paying money to terminate it.
So no, there's not a document that is new that doesn't have that information. These are documents from his contract and then the addition to his contract that you signed that the board voted on. So there's no new information.
The board voted on a raise, correct? That I didn't vote on.
Correct.
But because the motion passed, I had to sign the document.
That is correct.
But the decision before me tonight is to terminate a contract and have a payout?
That's what would happen, yes.
And this information was just brought forth to me today.
This has been a discussion that has been ongoing for a very long time. This is not anything new.
It's under investigation.
Please, no comments. I feel like this is a pretty new topic. I mean, this is interesting. Jeez. So we have a motion and we have a second, and that means we essentially need to vote that out instead of having a motion come through to table it. Is that correct, Attorney Thal?
If somebody made a motion to postpone, you could make that motion also.
In between?
Yes.
I make a motion to postpone.
Support.
And so you'd have to discuss and vote on that.
Trustee Cherry?
No.
Like you don't talk about it, or you're not in favor of postponing it?
Not in favor of postponing.
Thank you. Trustee Amos?
Not in favor of postponing. Sorry.
No problem.
Well, I think a legal document like this should be have some consideration and some thought about it instead of just bringing it in and just passing it. I'm against it.
Thank you. Trustee Pratt?
I think we should continue. Again, there's only one new document here. It's very short and to the point. And the we have had other discussions several months ago on the prospects if our superintendent should be terminated. So we have discussed this as a board before.
Clerk Beauchamp?
I don't see a need to postpone.
Trustee MacGyver?
I don't see any reason to postpone either.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
I see a reason to postpone if I remember the contract correctly. And not only that, I guess I would like more input from Attorney Thal, because we're talking about taxpayer money here paid directly from them. Is that correct, Attorney Thal? And should we even be discussing this in public?
So what was your question?
I had 3 of them in there.
Okay.
The first one is, should we even be discussing this out in front of public since he is an employee?
Well, it is always the board's right to do it in public if you choose to. If you choose to go into closed session to discuss like employment review type situations, then it's up to the employee to want to go into closed session. So ultimately, it is up to the board whether or not to at least ask to go into closed session on something like that.
And the other question was, who pays for this?
Whatever compensation is due because of a termination without cause, that's the township pays that.
And what is that amount, Attorney Thal?
I'm not sure. I mean,
Same here.
Legitimately, I
Right.
didn't write the contract, I don't know.
I wasn't involved with that either, so I believe the clerk was involved in that. Clerk Beauchamp?
I was not. Actually, our attorney from Clark Hill and Catherine Kaufman wrote the contract. So it's in front of us. We can certainly look, but I think what we would want to do is instruct the attorney to look into it more, and Brett would probably have to figure that out, where we're at.
So, let's see here. So just so we're all on the same page, we have a contract. Then in front of us, we have a resolution for termination of a contract without cause. And then the other document is the employment, First Amendment to employment contract. So there's just a lot of numbers. The board voted for a $20,000 raise from $121,297,000 to $141,297 per resolution. So we have that number, 141, and then we're gonna follow it down. And then to increase compensation for a vehicle allowance in the amount of $600 per month. And then we're moving down. Compensation for the satisfactory performance of duties set forth under this agreement, including any expenses occurred therewith, the township agrees to pay the employee an annual salary in the amount of $141,000, and then has the vehicle allowance. And then so...
It looks to me like, because in the contract, it says if the board exercises its right to terminate the employment of employee without cause, the employee is willing and able to perform duties of township superintendent, the township shall compensate the employee in an amount equal to contract terms. The payment may be made in a lump sum or be paid over a contract period at the option of the township board. The salary payments shall be payable in the manner established for regular salary payments. Notice of said termination must be by resolution of the township board.
So then the question would be the contract terms, how many years would that be, Attorney Thal?
The contract that I'm looking at.
A 5-year
is a
term?
5-year contract from beginning October 30, 2023. So payments through 2028.
So we're here with a decision set before us to pay somebody through 2028 at that value of $141,000 plus the $600 monthly allowance?
Yeah, I don't know about the automobile allowance, but for the salary, maybe. See. Well, probably, equal to contract terms, so.
And so in this contract, it says the 114, but then because there was a resolution for a raise, that probably is all together then.
Probably.
So we're looking at, Treasurer Bloomfield, you got a calculator handy?
No, I don't, but my other question for Attorney Thal is, what about benefits? Because I don't think these 4 people sitting here have thought about this through. Maybe they have, I don't know, but
Like, I mean, and then is there like,
I think it's, I mean, the way I read it is compensation.
and are we talking about any release of claims or anything here?
Well, it'd be dependent on, it would not include that.
So there's a resolution put forward for us tonight for a payment, but without any release of claims.
Correct.
So perhaps somebody could take our own money and come right, circle the block and come right back after us as a municipality. Is that an option?
Correct.
I don't think that that is in the best interest of this community.
Supervisor Martin, if I could, as I understand, many public comments was fire the superintendent, give the duties back to the supervisor. Many public comments. So this is not new information at all. And to quote you, give the people what they want.
I'm not sure that they want to pay that kind of money.
They did then. They had no problem with it then. But now that it's come into play.
No comments,
and it's
please,
an
guys.
option,
Thank you.
now all of a sudden it's an issue.
I think we are all stewards and have a fiduciary duty for this municipality to protect the money and make this community a better place.
You're right.
We haven't even done the math yet. What's the math? Does anybody know? We're gonna make an agreement tonight. We have a motion on the table and a second, and we haven't even, where's the number? What's the lump sum? Do any of us know?
No.
but you're willing to throw taxpayers' money and you have no idea what the amount is.
Treasurer Bloomfield, can you get a calculator out and we can have a little,
I'm leaving this one to the attorney because I don't even know if this should
All right,
be
Attorney
discussed
Thal,
up front.
we're gonna have to figure out when this contract started, and then we're gonna have to do a little reverse engineering on time left times money.
If I could, at this point in the discussion, point out that our numbers person...
Please, no further comments in the crowd so we can talk up here. Thank you.
Our numbers person for the township did calculate out several months back what it would cost should we, because again, this topic has come up before the board previously. And so those numbers should be, with some adjustments, should be quite readily available for you, Attorney Thal.
Recently, we were told in order to implement tornado sirens in our community that we needed to wait for the audit results to see what kind of financial standing we're in. And those sirens are $300,000, useful years of life, 40 years for nearly 16,000 people that we could allocate funds and money to. But a question at hand is a contract that, as somebody stated clearly, is being looked into. So aren't we putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit? As a board with this kind of money, this isn't a couple dollars. This is a lot of money. I mean, if the superintendent does not want to be employed here anymore, there's the door. But to pay this kind of money is absurd.
I think the witch hunt is the hardest thing to get past, you know. Which, who can blame them? But the bottom line is people wanted it. People wanted it. Right? I mean, that has been.
People wanted what? To get paid to go to work, to not go to work?
To fire him, to fire him.
What people? Well,
There have been several public comments. Watch the old meetings.
People want-
Several public comments. You need to fire him. You need to fire him. Give it back to the supervisor.
the people wanted sirens and you didn't give them that.
We haven't even voted on that. No, we have not. That's the biggest lie being told out there.
Whatever.
Watch the meetings.
How's the calculator working over there, Attorney Thal?
Working on it. So it's 28. So it looks like there's 28 months left. I mean, I just did it by averaging it the months, but it looks like about $341,446.
And does the,
$341,446.
if we can quiet down in the crowd with the conversations, please. 341,000?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that including the raise? Is that with the,
Yeah, at the 145, or 141.
and then no $600?
I
like
didn't factor
the
that
allowance?
in. I mean, there's 28 months, or let's see, what I figure. 28 months and 4 weeks is the difference between today and the end of the contract.
Okay. Treasurer Bloomfield, any further discussion? I guess we did that table part, we discussed it, but we really didn't vote that part, right?
Right, you're discussing whether to postpone it
Yeah.
to
So-
another meeting.
Let's finish that one. There was a motion, there was support, all in favor, and this is to table it, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
So 4-3, motion failed
To postpone.
to postpone. So back to the other motion and support for this resolution. Further discussion on the matter, Treasurer Bloomfield.
It amazes me how people hear what they think they hear, but they really don't hear it. I don't know how many of you remember, but I remember voting for sirens like maybe 2 times, and it failing possibly 3 times. I see a lot of 3 fingers going up. I don't ever recall saying I wanted the superintendent fired, but I know that there's been a lot of scuttlebutt and a lot of things that were said that weren't true. There's a reason, as the treasurer, I do not come into this building alone. How many of you know what that is? Yeah, a lot of you raising your hands out there in the audience. It's because I'm the one that's being attacked. And it's quite interesting tonight, since this is taking stage, there's a letter that came tonight anonymously, and I hope at the end of the meeting, the supervisor reads it. Because it's finally in favor of your treasurer who is constantly being attacked and threatened and everything else from different board members and on down the line. It's not just me. You see it with the supervisor. It's the same thing. This is a turnabout play to pay people off. And it's all been a setup. And for this board even to have this on the agenda, where this is at, where the recall's even at. I'll bring up the recall. It just amazes me how some of you board members that were elected treat the people that put you in office. It just boggles my mind, your lack of service and duty to your community.
Right on, Treasurer Bloomfield. Thank you. Trustee MacGyver?
I don't want
Your microphone, please.
Superintendent Scott Hess has been doing a wonderful job for us for a lot of years. And
Please, no comment. Please, no comments.
go 9 years now and then some months. And he's been persecuted and belittled in front of us, in front of the audience, our residents, mercilessly. for a good portion of that time for doing a good job, in my opinion. And I think, you know, as long as he stands in front of us, Superintendent Hess, and even though he's doing a good job, if he's keeping us from doing our job and moving ahead with this community, I think it's time to let him go, and we're going to have to deal with the contract. It's all signed by the people that agreed with it, and I don't see any reason to balk on this. Thank you.
Trustee McIver, have you seen the previous contracts of the severance that were 9 months? And then at some point it changed to 5 years?
I don't, if I've seen them, it's been a long time. I don't recall them.
Did you have any questions about that?
No, not right now. I'm just looking at what this is, what's in front of us.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Beauchamp?
I do believe that there was a campaign that was the basis of this campaign was to fire the superintendent. It's in black and white in writing. So I understand it's a payout, but I'm not really understanding what the big surprise is here. I have nothing else to say.
Thank you. Trustee Pratt?
Yes, thank you. Again, two of the three documents here before us on the board, we know them well. We've seen them before. We've also seen the calculations when this issue came up a little over a year ago, I believe. And the responsibility for that issue being brought up at that time. We had individuals, unfortunately, on this board that would not stay away from contractual issues, even though they had been told by our attorney, strike that, attorneys at that time to do so. So it's a significant pill to have to swallow, but we all have been informed of the issues at hand. Repeatedly, we have heard here from board members who get close to contractual issues, and then on occasion, they cross the line. And this has been documented here in our meetings several times over this last year and a half. As far as our superintendent, who has done an admirable job in his capacity and has provided services for the township over this time of service going on 10 years on a contract that initially was signed by two board members who currently are on the board. And so this is nothing new. Everyone knew, everyone up here on this board knew consequences if we go across that line of a contract. We've seen that happen in another issue that a board member provided us here, and we had to deal with it. Some of the numbers that the supervisor has mentioned in regards to the current contract was necessitated by what we had to do at the time to correct one board member and what that board member had done. That's unfortunate, but we, the 6 people left on board, had to negotiate, and doing so with 2 attorneys at the time. We had an independent attorney, one of the 2, an independent attorney to come in to review everything, to interview everyone, and she made a conclusion, and that came back as a factual. Several board members refused to read the report. That's truly unfortunate. I'm not even sure if they read it at this point in time, but the report said what it did, and the blame was cast where it should have gone, in my opinion. But that was the opinion of an independent interviewer, advisor, an investigator. So, again, I don't like where we're at here. I have not liked where we've been several times over this past year, but we are here. And again, boils down to a contract. And if we're going to uphold the contract, we have to uphold the contract. And it is and could be costly. But that is it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pratt. Just one question to clarify. Was that directed towards Treasurer Bloomfield?
What was directed toward?
The investigation?
I was speaking to the board.
So what
And we all, as board members, knew and know now there was an investigation on certain facts that was brought up.
But were you?
I have spoken my word. This is not a cross-examination.
I'm not.
I've spoken
I have a question.
mine. You have a question, then you can ask at a different time. But we're dealing with something here at the point we're discussing this issue here.
Trustee Pratt, I'm just trying to have a conversation here.
I see, yes.
So were you saying that to reprimand Treasurer Bloomfield, we as a board gave a $20,000 raise? Is that what you were indicating?
To reprimand, that's a totally inappropriate word. I'm discussing what the board did and concluded at that point in time. Everyone, I believe you were there too. So, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pratt. Trustee Amos?
Well, I can't believe that we're having this discussion about, and there's a legal question here on whether the contract is legal or not. And that question to me has never been answered. And yet you're trying to change this contract. And always before, whenever we had a personal item like this, we always insisted on going in the back room and talking about it. And all of a sudden, we're going to change the rules and we're going to settle it right here in front of everybody, especially when you have a majority here to do this. I think this is, I can't tell you what I think it is. And I don't understand what the investigation that you're talking about was, what that has to do with this contract.
Well, I don't see what sirens have to do with this contract at this time, but this has been mentioned by several people on the board and in the audience.
I believe it's mentioned because when we talk about that 20% of the budget and that money, the sirens were 300,000 and we didn't know if we could get there, but this is 341, but we're gonna make a decision tonight. So it was just kind of in a comparison because it deals with money and spending.
We're talking about one thing here at this point, supposedly.
So we're talking about triggering this contract because this board is putting a resolution together to trigger it for a payout.
If I could add something else in response to Trustee Amos's here. As far as the resolution that's been presented, we as a board have had several times resolutions brought to the board where no one else has been made aware of the resolution until it gets here. So this is not something that's been obscured. And I could point those out to you at a time, but that's factual.
Trustee Cherry?
I said what I said. Again, public comment, and several board members have wanted him fired. That's, again, facts. So that and the weather sirens, we may have discussed it 3 times, and I got to bring this up because, again, it's a flat-out lie. We may have discussed it 3 times. We did not vote on it 3 times. Period. So, but thank you for allowing me the time.
Attorney Thal?
I just wanted to make one clarification that, we calculated the salary. I don't know about benefits, whether that covers also benefits. So
the
just have to
question,
say that.
if we don't know about benefits, and then we also don't know if there would be any sort of document with a release of claims of any sort as well in this resolution.
Supervisor Martin, may I suggest a recess so maybe Attorney Thal has time to look this over if they want to continue to pursue it?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be able to tell you if it includes his benefits at this time.
If I could insert here, Attorney Thal, from what was discussed previously before you came on board, benefits was, from my memory anyway, benefits was not part of any kind of buyout, if that helps the discussion.
So we have a motion and we have a second, and we might not know.
Correct.
And what happen if there are board members that want to protect public funds that may want to challenge this? If this passes, what happens then? How does that work? What happen if, and this is a question, if all the Ts were not crossed and the Is were not dotted in this contract?
I mean, that would have to be an issue brought by the board, which...
Would be need to be a majority of the board.
The board can only take action by a majority vote.
Please, no comments. Sorry.
A break.
Treasurer Bloomfield is requesting a break, and I would be in favor of having a break as well. It's a lot of information and quite a bit of money in front of us. I make a motion to take a recess.
Support.
Motion made by Supervisor Martin, supported by Treasurer Bloomfield. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll take 15.
How many people are walking around the township right now without hoses? We have schools in the district who have leaking roofs, and they can't get our township tax on. And you are trying to get us to spend $341,000 or maybe more. Ridiculous. Bro. No, but she asked me when to vote against her, coming in November. Yeah. Oh, whatever, you know what? Someone's opinion comes true, that's tough. So that lady next to the station, there's an interstate.
Hi, how are you doing? Good. Good to see you.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sitting back there going,
Yeah, imagine what kind of good you could do with that.
you get your sirens like you said.
Yeah, I mean, you could, earn people's respect, and it's very. It's been terribly hard. There's, my deputy supervisor, he was almost really, he had 6 kids. It was like relative, so one of these board members turned him in for veterans. And
waiting on that.
We need you. How you doing? It's good to see you. I like your hat. We might need one of those for this one. Jeez Louise. Here.
So what is, why do you have
There's a law of MCL 42.10, and it allows all the supervisor's duties to be delegated to a superintendent to take a municipality and have it like a corporate structure. But I think that kind of is disparaging to the will of the voters. Right. So a lot of times when calls go in a handbag, you know, I get the phone calls and I get the brunt of why did you do this or why did you do that or why did you deny me my ability at my restaurant to build a patio. It's like, sorry sir, but I have no idea what you're talking about. No one told me about it. But let's start fresh. I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. Every conversation that I have starts like that. And it's like, hey, look, I ran for office to serve. How can I help you? What can I do? What can I do? I have fun stuff to do, but when all my duties are given away.
Right, exactly.
Without my consent. And I, at a board meeting, demanded all my duties back. And they told me no. On the Township webpage, it said the supervisor may assume their duties at their discretion.
Right.
So I read the webpage, assumed my duties, they told me no, and then they deleted the webpage that said that. Yeah, talk about crazy.
This township is gonna.
I better go bump with the attorney.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
So I kind of want to just go, we truly are. It's a position of living quarters. Crazy. So really what he's going to say is the policy is right over the camera. So if it was the other way, we probably would go. But where it's at is. No, I see it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was.
What? I don't know.
Yeah, for no reason. All the time. There is a reason, but they're fired for no reason. That's why we have to drop money. You want to fire
It's gonna cost a lot more. Yeah, and no terms in the contract by the fire department? No indemnification clause, no. No, nothing. Oh, here they go. No. First, make sure you must be training for their families.
They don't do it that way. I'm like, you know, can I say something? You were driving up and down there.
Yeah, I drove up and down.
They did some work in front of my house, but then they put some pipes in. They come out, where did you call it? Do you remember how that meter was by those houses? Well, doing all this stuff that they're doing, they put a whole new thing in. I'll check my water bill. Yeah.
She won't go work while we were gone.
Slay Jesus, but they can't slay us. That's right.
So did you have a sales last week?
I did.
You guys moving?
Probably. She's got land on it.
You have all the
It's us. This was actually Wednesday, but and I gave her a shift. She loves the religious things. I give it to me as kind of quick mind. No. Oh, guess what I did today? I'm ready for bring me a folder package to get signatures. Yeah. I saw it, I didn't think it was till later, and I got up at 8:30 and drinking my coffee. It's across my face, I'm down at City Hall at 8:32. I was at work by 9:10, and I had already stopped and got coffee and went to my insurance. I was gonna go to my insurance, but got gas instead. Teachers that here, there's no choir, no band, and they're bright, and they're out chairs for children.
I think there was like 30 or 40 kids my graduating class from band.
I don't want to send those to the best teachers that are doing the graduation. But they didn't create additional pictures. Yeah, they come to the high school for band and then no, I work in the academy. Like for me, that's us being Where do you go to PT? Arma, up in Richland.
Council the third.
Neighborhood right back.
Thank you all for the time and grace for the recess. Attorney Thal, do you have anything for us?
Well, the one thing that I would suggest highly is if you are considering terminating for cause, that you require that there be an release, a liability release associated with that, so that he cannot turn around and file suit against you.
Thank you, Attorney Thal.
Quick question on that. Did you say with cause or?
Without cause.
Without.
Yeah, I think your motion was without cause,
Yes.
but I think you have to, at a minimum, have a release of liability associated with that.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
I have no further comment other than I am curious to know how many of the board members, if you would do the favor for going around and asking, how many of each one of them have had conversations with the superintendent about this before us and his contract as far as his payout, because I'm curious to know that, and I'd like that on record.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Yes.
Have you?
No, never, no.
Trustee McIver?
Yes.
Clerk Beauchamp?
Yes.
Microphone, please.
Yes.
Trustee Pratt?
Yes.
Trustee Amos?
No.
Trustee Cherry?
No.
Supervisor Martin, no. Treasurer Bloomfield, anything further?
No. I agree with Attorney Thal that if the board decides to move forward with this, which I'm against, that we make sure we have in writing a release.
And would you ask that that be in the motion?
Yes.
Trustee McIver?
Sir.
Do you have anything, any further discussion, comments, thoughts?
No, I think I said my piece earlier. I'm good with that.
Thank you, sir. Clerk Beauchamp?
I have
anything
nothing
further?
else.
Trustee Pratt?
I have nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Trustee Amos?
No.
Trustee Cherry?
No, sir.
On behalf of the residents, I would be in support of a release of claims, but I would not be in support of any of this. So we have a motion, we have a second. Looking, if there's no further discussion,
Does it have to be amended, though, to add the release liability?
if we would, so if the board, whoever would want to make that motion, if that was the direction that we wanted to head. And
I amend my motion to include that we will require a liability release.
Support.
motion made by Clerk Beauchamp, supported by Trustee Cherry. Roll call vote, and Attorney Thaw, if you may explain this vote. Yes means that you're in support.
So a yes would mean that you are voting to terminate without cause the employment of Scott Hess, along with contingent upon a waiver of liability. And a vote no would mean that that you want to continue employment of Superintendent Hess.
Thank you, Attorney Thaw. Roll call vote?
Trustee Amos?
No.
Trustee Cherry?
Yes.
Clerk Beauchamp, yes. Trustee McIver?
Yes.
Supervisor Martin?
No.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
No.
Trustee Pratt?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Alrighty. Moving along to Treasurer Bloomfield for permits for outdoor sales.
Yes, this is another one of our old ordinances where the Planning Commission was kind of caught off guard by the 4th of July coming. For years, we have doled out permits. And Casey, thank you for
Yes,
coming.
I
And
assume.
Attorney Thal, Attorney Thal, I'd like your input on this also. We did start to work on redoing that ordinance. It was a very short ordinance. It was
Yes.
only one page, which was kind of nice. It took us, we took it line by line. And I believe we started on that May 14th, Casey?
Discussion, yes.
Yes, and then our last meeting, May 28th, we went through the whole ordinance and made our revisions. And our next Planning Commission meeting on June 11th, we have our first public hearing for this. So Casey, I'll let you go through the changes.
Yeah.
If that you remember, do you
Yeah.
happen to have that in front of you?
I don't have a copy, I remember a little bit though.
Okay, go by the best you can, maybe
So the
Attorney
major-
Fowler, I can help you.
Yeah, so the major change is for temporary sales and services outdoor. We do not allow them to take place on vacant land. So like, there needs to be a lawfully established business on that lot already. So the planning commission chose to axe that and to allow it on vacant and non-vacant land. Another change was that currently we require temporary sales to take place on a paved surface. The planning commission chose to change that to allow it on unpaved or paved surfaces. Another change was the hours. Currently, you can operate outdoor sales from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They decided to go with the noise ordinance from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then currently, you can get one 30-day permit, renew it one more time for a total of 60 days. The Planning Commission decided that you can get one permit for 30 days and then renew it 3 more times for a total of 128 days. Those are the biggest changes I remember.
That was good. You did good from memory.
Thank you.
I don't know if I heard you say the fireworks was the only one that we kept on a paved surface?
No, so our ordinance waived that paved
No?
surface requirement, and
Okay.
we now allow just the fire marshal. So fire marshal requires it on a paved surface, I believe, and so when firework tents come through the township, Fire Marshal Kessler already is signing off on them, so there he would have that discussion of we want it on paved surface instead of grass.
Attorney Thal, do you recall anything else with this ordinance?
I think there was just a discussion on the payment of fees for the permits and whether you would require one fee up front and then they could renew it without payment. I think that was something that was in discussion. I can't remember if we revised that or not.
And what we were trying to do was have our vendors that wanted to pop up and like our strawberry people who come sell strawberries along the side of the road, corn, and of course the fireworks, because that's what started this whole thing. And in the past, we have always issued permits for fireworks. And the Planning Commission, I believe on May 14th, the Planning Commission decided that we would give out the permits to set up and sell fireworks, but we would not ticket the people.
Correct.
Unless there was a complaint. And also, before our last meeting, Dakota asked me the question of that, and one of our Planning Commission members is here. He also talked to Dakota that night and confirmed that that's what the Planning Commission had decided. So, the reason I'm bringing this before you tonight is because it is our 250-year celebration. And I think that since this is another one of our old ordinances, and we still have a lot of them that we need to get through to update, that we should allow this to move forward if we could and give out the permits for this. The other thing that I remember with the fireworks was, correct me if I'm wrong, you two, was that we didn't need it next to an existing business, and I couldn't understand why that was.
Yeah, so currently, you can have a tent unless it's on the same lot as a lawfully established business, so therefore it can't be vacant, but you are proposing to allow it on vacant lots.
Right, because I couldn't see putting fireworks next to a business that was up and running. It just didn't make any sense to me if it ever caught fire or whatever, so.
And under the ordinance, you cannot treat fireworks differently than any other temporary sales. They all have to be treated the same way. You can't have different regulations for fireworks sales than other temporary sales.
And I think that you had worked us around that in our new ordinance.
And I would have a question as far as then when the fire marshal comes in to play with that, is that totally different?
That's different, yeah.
And is that paved service at their discretion, or is that hard nose?
I don't know. That'd be up to a fire marshal to tell you what the fire code is and things of that nature. But just from our standpoint, our temporary sales ordinance cannot differentiate between, we can't say fireworks have to be on paved surfaces, everybody else can be in the grass. We can't say that in our ordinance. So it's truly just up to whatever the fire marshal would tell the firework tent.
Vendor, okay.
And so I think the question tonight, Treasurer Bloomfield, was we discussed pausing enforcement for tents. However, the permits were already denied due to that clause of being on vacant land. As I received permits for vacant land, I denied them due to the fact they're not on established lots. And so the question was, do I reverse those permits I denied? And I think that's what we're getting to, right, Treasurer?
So that's kind of where we're at, yeah. We'd like to, the Planning Commission was in favor of it. I think I don't want to put words in your mouth, I don't know where you. She's held bound by her job, by her duties, so that's why she denied the permits. But in the past, they've always gone through. And I don't think, Attorney Thal, where were you on this? I didn't think you had an issue with us issuing the permits and moving forward?
Yeah, well, so enforcement is a discretionary action, so you could direct that for this season that this restriction's not going to be enforced, but obviously once you get your ordinance in place, which should happen fairly shortly, but probably, by the time you do Planning Commission hearing, then come here for first reading, and then second for adoption, you're probably, through the 4th of July holiday. So, you could just abstain from enforcement on those activities.
Which I think is what the Planning Commission's intent was with that, because, like I said, June 11th is our first public hearing. What's the next one, Casey?
Public hearing, and then it'll come to you all, not June 15th, that's too close, so that July.
Okay.
I don't know what the date is.
It'll come to the Township Board, I believe, July 6th, which would be after the fact. And that's why.
How would that work, Attorney Thal, Treasurer Bloomfield, Casey, if you waived enforcement? And that was one component of it. What about the permit? When they still need the permit?
Well, I think the permit can't be issued.
The permit has to be there in order for the fire marshal.
Well, the ordinance would have to be there in order to issue the permit.
Right.
But then you'd,
right, if you issued the permit, you would still be just saying that you're not going to enforce the restriction on vacant land. Because that's basically what it comes down to, correct? That it's, the permit requests are to be on vacant land, and the ordinance currently doesn't allow for that. I mean, who do they, so if you give them a permit, who's saying that they have to have a permit?
My understanding is yours also, Casey?
It's the ordinance.
No, but in terms of, can they not conduct that business without a township permit if you're waiving enforcement of it?
Casey, would the fire marshal, in order to do an inspection, do you know if
Yeah,
they would?
it would then be like a non-legal structure. They would put it up without the township's knowledge, and then we would just choose to not ignore it while it's up for July 4th. That's what the procedure would be. However, I don't know if these companies want to even take that risk of putting things out without township knowing. Because I wouldn't be able to tell them without you all's instructions, hey, put it up. It would.
Yeah, you would
So it is
certainly want to
possible-
provide some sort of pathway to.
So I would say this, if you have you could get your ordinance in place quicker if you called a special meeting or something of that sort, because it'll be planning commission hearing on the 11th, right? And then it can come straight to the board. Is your board?
But you're still looking likely at like 2 weeks, though.
Well, so then, yeah, it's going to be a couple weeks before the 4th. I don't know when they put these things
right.
up. I don't know.
Casey, on those permits that you received, was there an indication of a start time on any of them?
June 20th was the start time.
Okay.
I guess for a quick turnaround, if we have the June 11th public hearing, that June 11th day, I can put it on the June 15 agenda, but then we're still only at first reading for that.
So you'd have to have 2 special meetings.
Well, no, because you have a meeting on the 15th, right?
I gotcha.
And then you could schedule, it has to be published in between, but, if you publish in the Gazette, it could be a few days later. And then you could have a second read, adoption after that.
Yep. So that's maybe.
So it could be a little bit maybe after the 20th, but pretty close.
Would that be the only option?
I'd much prefer that than saying we're not going to enforce or we're not going to, because that gets into, like, you can't really issue somebody, lack of enforcement is one thing, but issuing somebody a permit for something that is not under your ordinance is a different thing, that you really can't do.
So June 20th was the
request at the time, correct.
request at the time. And did it indicate tear down, or is it July, day after, a couple days after?
June 20th, and they have until July 20th to take it down, so they have 30 days.
Okay, 30-day permit.
I guess if we say, like, if we can ideally get the permit approved like June 30th, and then they still have like 5 days buffer.
So you could, looking at the calendar, you could get it adopted within that week. So you could have it in place, say, by the 19th.
And would we have a board consensus for a special meeting if we were to call one to help America's 250th birthday have a little bit more fireworks?
Depends on the time.
Okay. Yeah. After 4 o'clock, I'd be available. Yeah. Trustee Amos, would you be available for a special meeting?
Sure.
Trustee Pratt?
Yes.
Clerk Bochamp? Yes. Trustee MacGyver?
What day? Tell me what day of the week. I'm sorry.
It would have to be at least the 18th, or that's a Thursday. So your meeting is the Monday, the 15th, and then later in the week.
Would we want to have a special meeting before the 15th?
The Planning Commission's not going to even address it until the 11th.
Yep.
So, the next day would be Friday, it wouldn't make a difference, because we have to get it published.
In the newspaper.
Right, and the publications are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
I see, okay.
What, Thursday or Friday?
So, if you did Friday the 19th, that would be the best, because then I can get it published on a Thursday, the 18th.
He's available. Treasurer Bloomfield?
So we can do this with one public hearing, Casey?
Yeah, as long as we don't have any major revisions, yes.
Okay.
At the Planning Commission level, right?
Correct.
So if we do the public hearing on the 11th, and we have a board meeting on the 15th?
Yeah, so I would we'll get the agenda packet out Thursday with the revisions. Me and Attorney Thal work on that, and then I'll just put that revisions into the deadline on that Thursday, the 11th, for the Township Board meeting. And hopefully there's no major changes. That's why Treasurer Bloomfield, I would question, we have a lot of revisions on that document. What if, to erase any concerns of having to go back and forth, we just changed that vacant lot requirement? I don't know how the PC will feel about that. But if we just change the vacant lot requirement, that could just be a quick, easy change, as opposed to if we have any major revisions down the line. I don't know if that's an option.
Well, also after the public hearing, if the PC acts on it with revisions or without, then it could go, you could put it on the agenda for the 15th, but then add the actual document, say on Friday, to the packet.
For the board packet?
Yeah, for the board packet. Yeah.
We could have it done by.
Because by the 12th, like, we can definitely, whatever the revision is, we can, take care of that Friday morning, and if there is a revision. Friday morning, and provide that updated ordinance to the board.
And I think that's doable. That gets, those permits issued by the 16th, the morning of the 16th then, correct? Of June?
No, because then
we'd have to have one more reading.
One more meeting?
Yeah, so it would have to be like by that Friday. I mean, maybe you could even have a meeting in the daytime or something, I don't know.
And this may be an internal discussion, but since I'll be gone June 11th, Kyle will only be in, I believe, Mondays. So we have to work with him on that, but that's just something that we can figure out as we go down there.
I'll process it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Casey.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too. So would we be looking to take any action on this what would you recommend?
No, I wouldn't take
Just
any
let the
further action.
planning
We'll
commission
get it.
play out,
Let
and
them
then
have their
what
public
happens
hearing.
there?
Yep, and then we'll just try to get it in front of the board and do your 2 readings of it and adopt it.
Okay. And any further board member discussion? And we'll be moving along to nothing under trustee, and we're moving along to supervisor budget adjustment. Just for clarification, I just wanted to talk about the budget adjustment. And I just wanted to, I was hoping Brett would be here for some further clarification. Deputy Knight, do you have any insight, any questions, anything on this budget adjustment from Brett's email? And then if any further board members have any comments on it. It just was a little confusing, and so.
It just appears that it's being taken away from the DDA's budget, and I wasn't able to get clarification on what is actually happening. If it's removing it from the budget because of the discussion of tornado sirens, or because of the fact that we just made a budget adjustment for the director's salary and wages line. I don't know if this is just a preemption from that vote or what's going on. It's a big number. It's not what we voted on, so I'm a little confused on what it is.
Yeah, my main question would be is that to remove item from DDA budget, appropriated use of fund balance, and it's nearly 58,000. So does anybody have any insight on that?
I don't. I have no clue what that is about.
Okay.
So that would have been nice to get clarification.
And Brett answered it through an email, but it was still, I didn't understand it. To maybe why it had been there in the first place. William, do you have anything?
He said it was in there to, he said it was not in there on purpose, that Steve, the previous director, put it in there to boast numbers for some reason, is what I kind of gathered from it. That could be wrong. I'm still not understanding where the almost $58,000 is gonna go.
Yeah, I just would ask that we receive further clarification on the matter, particularly to remove $58,000 from the DDA budget. That would be my ask of the board. If anybody. Yeah, sure. I make a motion to not take action to remove $57,854 from the DDA budget, account number 248-000-692.000.
Support.
Motion made.
Well, I would just say one thing. Would you be making a motion to approve, did you already approve the other budget?
We did not. We were just not.
So you could do a motion to approve the budget adjustments except for the DDA budget adjustment at this time.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda unless anybody else has anything that they would like to further discuss. Ooh, Treasurer Bloomfield?
Without the
Without the DDA.
57,000.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda without the $57,854 to remove the item from the DDA budget.
Support.
Supervisor, the consent agenda was already approved, so it would just be for the budget adjustments, just for clarity with the motion.
I believe Nicole is correct, Ben. We did do, because it was Nicole and Jerry that did the first motion.
So it's just the
For the
budget
whole
adjustments.
consent agenda, with the
Okay.
exception of the DDA or the budget adjustments. So the only motion you need to make is for the budget adjustments.
To just remove that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion to remove that from the consent agenda for the DDA budget of $57,854.
No, I'm sorry. So the consent agenda, it's not on the consent agenda anymore. So you
Oh,
would
I
just be
gotcha.
removing it from the budget adjustments.
Because I moved it from supervisor.
Yep.
So I make a motion, sorry, guys, make a motion to remove the budget adjustment for the DDA for $57,854.
Support.
Motion made by Supervisor Martin, supported by Trustee Amos. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, guys. Motion passes. Moving along to Dakota for ordinance report.
All righty, thank you. So for last month, I went to court 6 times, 4 citations. I had 115 complaints that led to 25 cases. We corrected 26 violations, and I only have 5 open cases as beginning of this month. Year to date, that is 296 complaints compared to 2024, where they had a total of 181 complaints total for the year. For cases open, I am at 205 for the year so far compared to 2025, where I was at 108, where they were at 108. Complaints. So biggest one was the Comstock Towers. There was an issue at Comstock Towers. Lots of the residents waited until it was too late to call me. If there's an issue, it needs to be addressed right away. When you wait until almost a week and a half after a problem is there and they want something done right away, that's not how enforcement works. And because that does go to our building department, and they do have to follow state law when it comes to things like that. So I had 91 complaints from the apartments, both from the residences and their family members. So when an issue like that arises, call right away so we can address that. Because their issue is no hot water, and it went on for about a week and a half before I started to get complaints that rolled in. We also did a prescribed burn at Robert Morris Park. That went very well. If you're into mushrooms, a specific kind of mushrooms, they are growing at Robert Morris Park. You can find them pretty easily. Just follow all the burnt grass, and that's where you'll find them. Just a reminder that we are doing things off of complaint-based as well as grass. So you've not seen me driving around doing grass because we are doing grass off of complaints. So if you want somebody's grass mowed or you think it's too high, you need to call me, let me know that, hey, I believe grass is too high, and we'll go out there and go take a look. We only did 2 cleanups, one on Rose Street, which was 2 tires, and same thing on Market/Starward, that was a couple tires as well. With that, moving forward now, since I have lost my zoning person, who I use almost daily for zoning enforcement, because I rely on their interpretation, as well as my boss, who will be leaving soon. Going to ask for some patience, because we have a lot going on, and now I got to somehow do the work of 2 additional people. So that's all I got.
Any questions for Dakota? Thank you, Dakota. Good job.
Thank you.
Moving along to reports, we have the April 2026 fire report. We have the April 2026 Fire Department Public Relations report. We have bills paid May 21st, 2026 through May 28th, 2026. Informational and future action items. We have the June 15th police millage discussion. We have FOIA requests. We're now moving along to public comments on agenda and non-agenda items. A citizen may state their name and address, may speak only one time for no more than 3 minutes. This time may not be given to another citizen to extend their time. The person speaking has the floor, and no other citizen shall speak during someone else's time. During this time, you'll be making statements to the board without discussion from board members, but you're welcome to make an appointment with the supervisor or superintendent to discuss your comments further. Their contact information is located by the door. Please keep comments clean and respectful.
Wow. John Charlie, just in case any board members leave, I want to be first. This meeting was very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't like Superintendent Hess, but firing him with like no reason, that's very suspicious. We had no clue about it and everything, you know, whatever. It is what it is. At least we kind of made some progress on some stuff tonight. There was a lot of arguing, a lot of bickering, but at least we made some, you know, progress tonight. And I do thank you for not taking money away from the DDA, but who knows if it was realistically the DDA's money. We don't know. We never got clarification. You know, that $58,000 is a lot of money for the DDA. You know, the budget for them is very small and has been very small for the past couple of years. This meeting was crazy. Some of the comments made by some of the board members and everything like that, I just can't believe some of the stern talking that was up there too, just kind of disrespectful. You want us to be respectful out here to you guys, but you can't even be respectful to each other. You got people writing notes up there and everything like that. I would rather have the eyes here. I thank you, Christy Cherry. You actually pay attention to me when I'm up here speaking. And I am sorry that if I have made comments sometimes that are disrespectful, but I get 3 minutes. Please listen, please watch. This is my time to speak. You guys cannot, you know, talk to me back and everything. And I wish there was actually a questions and answers sometimes. You know, because we have a lot of questions as not board members, as public, whatever you want to call us. So thank you. I went to Comstock, okay? You know, it's just, hopefully a couple public comments behind me are clean and respectful. I don't know if they are. I watch myself. I don't watch other people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Tammy Keeler. I'm telling some of you guys right now, some of the stuff that I've seen on Comstock Res Refugees, it's not helping your campaigns any. There's one board member's relation up there that put a lot of stuff, nasty stuff, on there. I want to give it to 3 people tonight. And Mr. Pratt, you got to go, man. You better resign. You sign that resign paper because you're going to be voted out. So is Sherry. Nicole. MacGyver, I'm not too sure about him. Don't say too much. But you going after Sandy because of the superintendent, and it's about time you guys give Ben's duties all back to him. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, Bill Korb, a resident of Doe Avenue, candidate for the 42nd. I just want to say thank you because every day when I speak to voters, there is a lot of voter apathy out there. And I can point to this today and say, hey, in just a couple hours, we pissed away $300,000 without a problem. So we can get stuff done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This wasn't brought to be brought up here tonight. It was going to be a gift to somebody. But I think it's kind of appropriate now. Jesus Christ was slain because people didn't like what he did. You guys just slayed our township. You took the money of the taxpayers to pay off an employee. That was a buyout. That was a cop-out. I don't understand why you think he had 2.5 more years. No, did I like some of the stuff he did? No, I did not. But to give him that kind of money to do nothing, when that kind of money could be used to help our homeless, to help for sirens, maybe, whatever. But you guys just slayed our community by giving away that money that was my money that I pay. I'm on a fixed income. I'm sure some of you are, just by your age, you're on fixed incomes too. Maybe some of you need to give up your health insurance. cut it down to an 80-20 instead of 100%. I don't have 100% coverage. I think you guys just did a disservice to this whole community, and I can't wait for the recall. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi. I guess I'll start with this. As the four of you are probably well aware, last week the preliminary face check for the recalls against you four had passed. Next step. So I guess the mentality going now forward is we're gonna burn it down on our way out. That's what it seems like. We're gonna piss away $300,000 just for whatever. Sounds crazy to me. So you got hiding something, it feels like.
Yeah.
No
We
comments,
asked for the
please, and have the
supervisor.
floor.
We asked for the superintendent to be fired over a year ago. Why do you guys wait till after the recall signatures are showing like they're gonna prove valid? Everybody's seeing what you're doing. And bringing up Treasurer Bloomfield's censure, that's pretty comical, because I remember in that same email or whatever it was, report, the superintendent wanted to get out of his contract then. You guys just told him no, it was too much money. But now that the recall's going through, you're like, screw it. Burn it down on the way out. Piss poor governments.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Jason Tollerson. I'm a resident of Comstock. $340,000, that's what we just spent tonight. That conservatively is about $20 out of everybody's pocket here in this township. Anybody fill up gas this weekend and go over $80 just to fill up your gas tank? Or how about anybody who's spending $350 to $500 a week to feed 4 children and everything with these food prices going on? And we want to spend $341,000 to pay out a supervisor. And our justifications for that is that a campaign has been ran against the supervisor. What campaign? What evidence have you presented to this room or to this board that there was a campaign against Hess? None of you have presented any evidence. What evidence have any of you presented that this is just even something worthy of doing? I mean, like, what are we even accomplishing here? Like, other than spending $340,000, what are you accomplishing? What is it that you want out of this, that you voted for it? What do you get?
No comments, please. He has the floor.
I understand you can't talk back to me, and that's really unfortunate here, because this really should be a dialogue, especially for this kind of just childish behavior that we've seen from our board tonight. I'm really disappointed. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Just a reminder, please let the speakers have the floor.
Jonica Camburn. Recently, some of us made the decision to suspend collecting signatures for the 3 recalls before our deadline. This was not due to deciding against the recall, but it was in response to feedback that we were receiving from some of the citizens we spoke with. First of all, I want to apologize to the 4 board members that may feel we let them down. I'll be forever sorry for not following through. That being said, I feel it's important to address what happened. There were some citizens that did not want to be involved at all, but there were a large number who were hesitant to sign due to fear of retaliation when those petitions were made public. For my part, I could not in good conscience say that would not happen. My family member that filed the original recall petition with the county was subjected to harassment and verbal threats. Even his children in another state were drawn into the fray with their pictures being posted online. I've heard the verbal accusations at our meetings, and I have seen threatening emails sent to 2 of our board members. It's also very difficult to fight disinformation. I personally took calls from citizens saying they were misled and signed the wrong petitions. They were told if you did not want the battery storage plant, theirs was the petition to sign, as those 4 board members had voted for it. In reality, all 7 board members voted unanimously to adopt the ordinance. It seems there may be somewhat of a do as I say, not as I do in the township recently. Ben, before the incident of board members leaving before a meeting was adjourned,
You and Emily left a Board of Review meeting before I had adjourned it. You made a statement, and as I was commenting, you got up and left, and Emily followed you. This was when we were in the small conference room, and it was commented on at the other time. Other people are aware of it, besides me. I don't think it was planned ahead, but I just think it was perceived that I'm not on your side and what I say is deemed irrelevant or disingenuous. I've got over 8 years of experience on that board. I do have a few things that might be relevant. Since this board has been elected, we have lost over 6 people with more than 30 years of experience in the township office alone. This is unprecedented. It will be a very long time before this knowledge can be replaced. There will now be no continuity. This cannot be good for our township. People need to ask why this is happening. The daily turmoil and division in our township takes a personal toll that people cannot sustain. This has only been a problem since the new board was installed. I'm going to be leaving after I speak, so if you wish to make crude gestures, roll your eyes at me, or make rude comments in the hallway or parking lot, as has happened in the past, please follow me out the door.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, folks.
Township resident. I grew up here and I moved back 20 years ago. I'm not sure why at almost every single meeting it needs to be brought up about public comment. I'm sure it's been said by many before. I've watched all the meetings previously from home. I'm just now starting to come to the meetings in person. MCL 15.263, public comments must have at least one, public comments must have at least one opportunity to speak publicly in an open meeting. Only one public comment is required by law, just one. So we are still being allowed to have 2 comments. One is restricted to agenda items. And I can say in the last couple of months, watching the meetings, since those first comments have been restricted, I think the meetings flow a little bit easier. People have we're having a tendency to come up here, get everybody riled up, the board, the residents, and it just created a lot more animosity during the meetings, and it seems like they have calmed down some since now all the bashing gets saved to the end of the meetings. So again, with having the open public comment at the end, no rights are being taken away, nothing's being violated, and I, as a resident, support the change that did happen a couple of months ago. Someone had made a comment earlier about they didn't know what the ordinances were that were going to be on the agenda. I looked up the agenda earlier. I also looked up the agenda packet right off the township's website. I easily found it. I was able to scroll through every single page that was there. I was able to read the ordinances that were listed on tonight's meeting. So just a reminder, that is there for the public. Regarding the superintendent contract, I'm going to miss him because over the last 10 years, every single issue I've had, he is the one that has resolved it. Not another single body in this township has ever resolved any issue I've brought to the township other than Mr. Hess. Everyone's always screaming about transparency, yet in the meantime, everybody back here was wanting them to go into closed session to discuss this. And the last township meeting, somebody was bringing up that we need to eliminate closed session. So I think the residents need to decide what they really want as far as do they want the transparency and the openness, or they want to keep things in closed session. They can't have both. Somebody had mentioned about, on the board had mentioned about how the board members treat each other. I think that person needs to take a look in the mirror because it has been seen over the last year and a half that they do the same thing as well. So it's going to be an interesting township moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Autumn Smith. I think you guys had a lot more amending to do to that contract. Was his firing immediately? Did he walk out with township keys? Does he have a key access card? Does his password still exist? Could he be deleting files right now? Could he be destroying evidence as part of the quo warranto? Did he just get to take the company car and fill it up one last time? I mean, You guys had no terms on this firing at all. At all. And the scary part is, like I said, it's facing full warranty, so this could come back if the investigation is launched and it's found out that his contract was invalid or parts of it were invalid or weren't legal and things. This could haunt you guys for a really long time. There's a difference in firing somebody, like you guys were trying to say, because of political pressure, because that firing was called for months ago. And then there's a difference in firing someone after you guys are being recalled, after he's under quo warranto investigation. It's called stacking the deck. You didn't even consult with the attorney. You guys have no provisions. You guys are probably gonna end up getting sued. What you guys think is $340,000 is probably gonna cost upwards of $1 million by the time you guys are done, if you guys have ever been involved in municipal lawsuits and stuff like that. So just a few other things. There's a lot of things that you guys didn't see. Ultra vires, that means beyond one's authority. One of the major risks in an ultra vires argument are the contract terms exceeding statutory authority, like a golden parachute payout, severance that violates state limitations, amendments made without proper procedure, approval outside of Open Meeting Act requirements. Remedies could result in contract invalidations, in part or in whole, recovery of improperly or overly paid funds, findings of improper public expenditure. While the timing is not necessarily illegal, it certainly is questionable, to say the least. Was the decision fiscally prudent? Was it influenced by political pressure? I think we had our conclusion when they went down the line and everybody admitted to who spoke to who about it. Did the board fully understand the legal exposure? I think we found that out because nobody knew what was going on except the three that had a sub rosa conversation about it prior to the meeting. Did council advise on risk? Mr. Thal, he was blindsided like the rest of you. So this could also come back as misconduct in office on you guys that voted to do it, and that is a common law felony punishable by 10 years in prison.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any further citizen comment this evening?
My name is Eric Murphy, a Comstock resident as well. I was pretty blown away by the decision made tonight. I guess my only question, and I know nobody can answer it, but it sounds like the argument was posed, I guess, that this is what the township wanted, right? That you asked us to fire Scott Hess, so now we're going to do it. We've asked for a lot of other things that haven't happened, so it's interesting that it happens now. But the real issue here is that you guys are supposed to be like fiscally and financially prudent of the money that is collected within Comstock through our taxes, and I cannot imagine that anybody actually believes that that was a fiscally prudent decision to make, to fire our superintendent, who, whether anybody liked him or not, was carrying out duties that needed to be carried out by this township, correct? That job doesn't go away because we fired somebody. Someone has to do it. So we have to pay that out for the next 2.5 years and now hire somebody or figure out somebody to do it and then pay them. And just cost us more and more money. And what are we accomplishing? How did this help anybody? I would like an answer on that. I don't suspect anybody has that answer.
Thank you, sir. Is there any further comment this evening? If there is no further comment, we'll be moving along to board member comments. Trustee Cherry?
I just wanted to mention the agenda packet. I thought it was pretty awesome having that survey in there. And all the questions that were asked and how people responded. It was pretty cool. I hope we could do that more often. That would be nice.
Thank you, Trustee Cherry. Trustee Amos?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Trustee Pratt?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Clerk Beauchamp?
I have nothing.
Trustee MacGyver?
I'm all set, thank you.
Treasurer Bloomfield?
Trustee Cherry, are you referring to the police millage discussion? The survey for that? Yes. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to anyway, but I was it was very interesting, like you said, but I found it very disappointing that it said like there was less than 100 people who responded to that. So I'm hoping on the next agenda or soon, we have a discussion as how we can get more people to participate in that, to really see what they want us to do with that, because it is a very large expense that we do incur in the township to have one deputy. Thank you for being here. Also, if you really want to see where your money goes in your board packet, always look at the bills paid. This time it is from May 21st to May 28th. Another thing, I just want to thank the parks and the VFW for the Memorial Day Parade. Those of us that walked, those of us that are elected and walked, we had a good time with all of you residents and your children. And I thought that it was a great day and the weather was good. And thank you to the fire department for, you had a lot of show there at the end, and I didn't even get to see them all, so, but thank you.
My gears are going. I'm gonna stew on this one, and I have no comments for the evening, but I want to thank you all for attending. This meeting is adjourned.